Hi, I'm not okay. This is going to be a little bit of a different video. Usually on this channel I like to do stuff that's, funny, uplifting, something that, when you come and you click play, your mind will be taken off of, maybe whatever's happening in your life and you can just have a laugh, enjoy yourself for 10, 15, 20 minutes and then, sometimes you just have to go back to your life. I've been trying for days to muster up the motivation to do the same thing that I do every week. And I love what I do, don't get me wrong. I love doing this. This is my dream career, this is what I want to do. But I'm having a very rough time. So I deal with depression, In the past, I've dealt with self-harm and suicide ideation. I'm obviously in a much better place. I'm not in that dark of a place as I have been in the past, but it's still a struggle. This week, I just thought that I wouldn't be able to forgive myself if I missed a week. I thought maybe this would be somewhat beneficial, even if it doesn't make you laugh, because it's, a bit more of a serious topic. Maybe some of you can relate, and maybe it can normalize this a little bit, especially for men, because mental health and men is kind of a strange mix still. We're still trying to remove the stigma around that and, acknowledge that men do in fact struggle with mental health. I don't really talk about my own mental health. Like, I acknowledge it, I understand when I'm feeling crap and when things are kind of getting a bit rough. It's not even that it's that difficult for me to speak about it. I just don't see the point often if someone can't offer me a solution to the problem that's happening. It's really difficult struggling with something like this, right? Because oftentimes when I'm in a good spot, it's not like all of the issues that I have in my life disappear. They're still there and I'm still dealing with them, but somehow I feel better equipped to handle them. Somehow I feel like I have the strength to be positive and be happy and do what I need to do despite whatever's going on. And it's not like my life is any different when like another bout of depression hits. My life is the same. You can't really control when it happens. It just does. And when you're in that place, all the good things that existed in your life when you weren't feeling depressed are also still there. But suddenly they seem a lot less significant. And when you're in a bout of depression, it feels very difficult to pull your attention away from all the things that are wrong and all the things that are not perfect. I think we as humans, most of us anyway, have a tendency to nitpick and find the bad things than we do to find good ones. And that happens a lot. I don't know, if you watch me on TikTok or if you've been following me on here, you might see this as a little bit of out of character. And yeah, of course, when we're on social media, we put out like our best reel. Oftentimes I will have like a depressing thought in my brain. I'm like, maybe I should just like tweet this out. And it's like, I don't know, like an angsty tweet or like, just a story about, how I'm kind of feeling sad or frustrated. But I found myself stopping myself from doing that each time, and kind of trying to be like, okay, what can I put up instead that's not going to be sad, because I don't ever want to add to anyone else's sadness or, upset. So I never want to contribute to that. Instead, just put up a picture and be like, have a good day today or something like that, rather than expressing my frustration. To me, that seemed like the way to do it, but I don't know. Should influencers put those kind of things up so that you understand that, kind of anyone can go through this? I don't know what the right answer is to that, honestly. If you know me, your impression might be, oh, you're a pretty positive, pretty happy person. And that's not untrue. I am. But with something like this, you can't really control it. And it kind of sucks that way. Because, say for example now, I'm filming this on the 5th of May. But if I look back, a year back, on the 5th of May 2020, mentally, I was in a better spot, but my life probably wasn't as good as it is now. So that's why this sort of thing is kind of frustrating, right? Because it doesn't always necessarily rely on how things are in your life right now. You know, I'm sure other people are struggling with the same things, and I'm hoping that maybe some of you guys can relate. So maybe you'll feel like you're a little bit less alone, especially if you're a man or if you're someone who just struggles to talk about their mental health. Maybe this will feel like a little bit like maybe two friends bonding over a shared experience of something that's shitty. One of my big issues, and I know that this is going to be very universal, so I know that a lot of you will be able to relate to me, and that is the pandemic. Since the 13th of March 2020, both me and Hannah, who we live together, have been in a year-long lockdown. And what I mean by that is that Ireland had gone into multiple lockdowns, like they go into lockdown, open up again, go into lockdown, open up again. But for me and Hannah, things never really changed. We're self-employed, we work from home, which we are incredibly lucky to be doing that, and I appreciate that so much. But then basically what that also meant is that we more or less stayed at home, you know, like we wouldn't even leave the house for groceries. We generally have them delivered to us, but it felt very isolating. Many of you probably will not know this, but me and Hannah live in a one-bedroom apartment in a neighborhood that's not very safe. Me and Hannah have an incredible friendship. You know, if you've seen any of our videos, if you've seen any of my TikToks, anything like that, we have a great friendship. But having to share such a small space with anyone for over a year is going to be strenuous. We often find each other in each other's way all the time. If Hannah's working in the living room, if I feel like I have to have my own space, now I have to work in the bedroom. Even just having to deal with those kind of issues, and like we both stream, we have one PC, we both stream. I did acting classes online for a while, so obviously I had to find a space for that. Having to rehearse auditions or like monologues or do voice classes, anything like that, it's just difficult to find the space to do those things. I'm the sort of person, I really value and I love having my own space. And I don't have that, you know, here. Neither of us has it. Hannah doesn't have it, I don't have it. And it would just be really nice and good for my mental health if, you know, I could have my own room. So that's one thing. I'm also a pretty social person, so it sucks not being able to like meet people and connect with people. You know, I've made an incredible community online, and the stuff that I've done during the lockdown, my life has completely transformed, and I am so appreciative of it, like incredibly so. It's just that I'm so excited to get to the next part, and it just feels like it's running away from me every time that I think it's getting closer. Social media and acting are like my dream job. I've been wanting to do that for the longest time in my life. And I never really had the proper time to devote to it. You know, I was either in school or I was working a full-time job. You know, I tried to do it over the years. I did it for a long time where I tried to divide my time up in a way that I could try and work on it, but I was never able to. The last day I was in my office was the 13th of March 2020. And immediately the next day since then, I was like, we don't know how long this will go on. Let's work. Let's grind. Let's see what I can do, right? Like, we have this time now. I'm always complaining about not having time. So it'd be such a big shame if I didn't use this time that I have right now to try and pursue the stuff that I love. I started making TikToks, and I have posted 3 TikToks every single day. And, you know, some days it's so easy. And I love it. I love making TikToks. I love making people laugh. It's my favorite thing. Honestly, when someone messages me or emails me and they say, I was having such a shit time and you made me smile for the first time in a week, that in itself makes up for any amount of hours that I've put into doing the things that I do. It makes it worth it, even if I'm doing it from a small shitty apartment in a shitty neighborhood in Ireland. A few months into the pandemic, me and Hannah decided to start being consistent with our YouTube videos, which has been fantastic. And I love doing it. And that kind of brings us up to the point now where I have amassed, I think, 370,000 at the moment followers on TikTok, which is incredible and mind-blowing. And it it's still impossible for me to conceptualize that number. I'm still incredibly grateful for every single one of you. And of course, we hit 10K on this channel this year as well, which has been incredible. And it was such a goal of mine for such a long time. I have so many different plans and projects that I have that I want to work on and I want to do in the future that's going to give back to people, because ultimately that's, you know, that's a big goal of mine in life. And that's another big struggle of mine, is that I feel like I'm not in a position where I can help people as much as I want to help people. And it's really frustrating when you're stuck in that spot. And at this stage, you kind of have to get really creative with your TikToks and your videos, because every week and every single day I have to come up with, you know, ideas for new content. When you're surrounded by the same setting that feels oppressive to you, and I mean oppressive in terms of space and the sameness of it all, it's very difficult to keep yourself creative and fresh. Oftentimes I'll go to bed and I'll say to myself, tomorrow I'm going to wake up and I'm going to be motivated, and oh, tomorrow's Monday, it's going to be a great week. Work hard and get everything done. And oftentimes I will get everything done, right? Because it's my to-do list, I got to get it done. But I'll wake up and I'll get out of bed and then I'll go out into the living room and I'll be like, wait, we're still in the same apartment. The weather outside is still cloudy and everything's the same. You know, everything is the same. Like, it feels like so much in my life has changed beyond recognition, and it'll never be the same as it was before. And for that, I am glad. And yet, it feels like everything's the same. And like I've made no progress. I realized that I haven't even mentioned the thing that pretty much triggers like really intense feelings of depression lately, and that's the vaccines. Ireland's vaccination program is really, really slow, and I'm still not due to get my shot for a few months. Hannah got her vaccine, you know, she has a medical condition that has allowed her to get it a little bit sooner. The people that I know, most of them are vaccinated. Most of them are not in Ireland, which is why they're vaccinated. America, for example, they're the ones who are probably the most lax with their rules, but you know, they've got basically any adult can now go and get the vaccine, which is great, which is fantastic. Honestly, like, props to America, well done, you did something right. And then, you know, England and other countries are like so far ahead of where Ireland is right now. And it's so frustrating to see, you know, people being able to go back to their normal lives and like actually go outside and do stuff with other people. And I'm just still here. Yeah. I miss traveling an awful lot. Los Angeles is the first place I'm going to go to as soon as I'm able to travel, and I can. I miss it so much. You know, I feel like I basically did everything right. I stayed at home. I double mask just because I don't want to catch I don't want to take any risks. I don't want to transmit it to anyone. I don't want to do any of that. And it just sucks. You know? I guess that's it, right? That's the crux of it. That's why I feel shit. Because it feels like, oh yeah, so many things have changed. You've achieved all these things, sure. We are still in a shitty one-bedroom apartment in an unsafe neighbourhood in Ireland. And not making that much change in the world. I know people would disagree. I know people would, you know, I know. But it just feels that way. And it's hard to deal with. The thing about depression is that it often doesn't make much sense, you know, when it happens. Because like I should be in a very good spot mentally. We're doing well. But it doesn't make sense, right? Because my brain decides to focus on, instead of being like, oh yeah, soon we might be able to travel, soon, you know, instead it's like, well, Hannah can travel because she'll have the vaccine and you can't, and you can still catch something. If you're someone who, like me, struggles with these kind of things, and sometimes they come on and then suddenly it is like, I understand there's good things in my life, but my brain just doesn't really want to put much value to them right now. I get you. I understand how you feel. it fucking sucks. Just recognize what your coping mechanisms are, and also recognize what you tend to do when this happens. I isolate myself. In this 1-bedroom apartment, I isolate myself when I'm feeling shit. I'll go into the bedroom and just lay on the bed for hours. Sometimes it's like, you know what, I don't even want to feel better. Like, I just want to feel shit. And if that's the case, sometimes you can just feel shit. It's fine. But yeah, if you are struggling, you're not alone. Please look after your mental health. Men especially. I know I joke about this in videos a lot, but please go to therapy if you can afford it, if you can access it. It is an invaluable resource. For transparency's sake, I personally do not go to therapy. I just don't feel like I'm in a financial position to go to therapy, but that is something that I intend to do in the future. This is to anyone, but men especially. Don't suffer in silence. I know that men, we don't need help, we can love this, like, whatever, right? I know that it might be uncomfortable to speak about things. Sometimes find ways around it, and just find ways of coping, you know? Because I know this happens already, and it'll continue to happen, but it sucks when we lose an entire ass person and their whole light just because they felt like things were a little bit unbearable. And I feel like if we can just be a little bit more open about the things that we're going through, we can avoid a lot of sadness and a lot of loss. So please speak up if you're struggling with something. Whatever you're dealing with, it will pass. Please hang on. Please. I don't know what you can take away from this video. Perhaps some mental health advice if you did. If nothing else, at least maybe you had an explanation for why I've been a little bit off. I'm really looking forward to when the situation that I'm in will change. I'll get to LA soon enough. I'll get there. And when I get there, I'll bring you along on the journey with me. Until then, make sure that you look after yourself. If you made it all the way through this, thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching me ramble and discuss mental health stuff. And I promise that next week we'll be back with a more uplifting video. So, thank you for watching. As always, have a good day, have a good life, and goodbye.